So recently, ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple Netflix stories here today. So as you know, last week was all about the sub. It was all about the submersible and the tragic passing of the four or five people on the sub.
It was 5.
It was 5. That's right. Okay. So it was the tragic passing of the 5 individuals who passed away on the sub. And what's happening is Netflix is cashing in like the evil narcissistic, like that evil capitalists that they are. That's what they're doing. They're going to cash in by bringing back Titanic. Did you see this?
Yes, it says Titanic will be added back to Netflix on July 1st. My first reaction to this was like, I don't think that we have the collective attention span to even remember what happened to the submersible by July 1st.
Oh, it'll be gone by then.
It's already kind of gone.
Yeah, people are like, they're my
collective
favorite
consciousness.
My favorite meme the other day says like, I'm done being a submersible expert. Now I'm going to be an expert on military coups in Russia. Like,
exactly, and each phase lasts for like 3 days.
Like my favorite part about the fact that we live in a news cycle that's basically it's continuous, it's omnipresent. There is no 24-hour or week-long news cycle anymore. It's just always the news.
Yeah.
Is that I'm not an expert in anything, nor do you have to be, because the news changes so damn fast.
Yeah.
Like,
also I guess the information that there was like repeated like 30-minute interval banging coming from the ocean was like
cap.
Not real.
Yeah, it had to be fake.
It's just totally fake news.
The explosion happened.
It was an implosion. I saw the press release that they did with the Coast Guard, where this guy was just repeatedly dodging questions that were like asking whether they're going down there to retrieve the bodies. It's like, I don't know how we can emphasize this enough. They're not going to go down and do another death mission to retrieve the bodies, which are not intact. Like, that was all that the media wanted to ask him. But once again, I will say the Titanic is not a good movie. It was a movie about a woman being a floozy on the cruisy.
On the cruisy?
She didn't have any right to cheat on her fiance with some brokey. Just because he grabbed her wrist one time or like gave her a little slap.
In the chat, Rick Bungle asks, is Celine Dion still alive? Yes, but she hasn't been performing because she got that horrible medical diagnosis.
Right. But that song has been going up in streams too.
Oh yeah, immediately. Like it re-entered the top 10 instantly. Another thing is like, look, I saw this amazing video yesterday and I reposted it on my Instagram story. It's the scene of her about to jump over, but instead they do post-production and make her she's dropping in on a ramp on a skateboard and she's holding the back of the ramp and the whole thing is like, it's like, I love that people have the time to do that.
The creativity.
And the creativity.
Not gonna lie, the submarine or submersible memes were funny and I'm not gonna apologize for laughing at it. Like,
no, it's the people that seemed happy that they were dead.
I'm not like one of the weirdos that was like cheering it on and like
it's the same thing as what we were just
hoping for something horrible to be revealed about the situation because of like having a rose emoji in my screen name and like being part of the local DSA club. That was cringe, but like if you're shaming people for making memes or making jokes about something dark, you're just a humorless person.
No, it's the same. It's in because reasons we'll get to it in a second here. Look, it's the same reasons I'm talking about the girl from the story before this. They're not. It's not what you're saying. It's the fact that you're classifying as that what happened to them is okay because they had money. Like,
right.
It's another useless qualifier. They're all human beings. So if you're going to be happy that they died and you're just happy that people died, that's fucked up. But I would be less annoyed by that because you're just a scumbag psychopath rather than a scumbag psychopath who thinks that his qualifiers to his statement make it okay.
Yeah, especially for the 19-year-old that was on the submersible who only went because he was trying to make his dad happy for Father's Day. Like, that's the saddest story there.
Absolutely.
And he didn't choose to be born into wealth, so why have zero empathy for him?
But that's like the problem here is that we've added qualifiers that now make it okay, make it socially acceptable to be awful to people.
We've had qualifiers that like what makes you deserving of empathy.
Yeah.
Or like what makes you like deserving of any human compassion.
Yeah. And like, imagine being these people who, like you said, kids that didn't ask to be born into it.
Yeah.
Will they end up being good people or bad people? I don't know, but that's not the point. That type of behavior, it's kind of like when they talk about how they want the ability, like, I saw an article recently, I read an article talking about how they're going to start taking like race into account, race and sex into account when giving out medical treatment. So like your classification, like who you are as a person, could decide whether you get treatment
but
or not.
For medical reasons.
But
it's
doctor,
just affirmative action
yeah.
if you're on like a kidney donor list.
But doctors don't want that. Like actual empathetic doctors, they understand, like, look, we bring criminals into ERs all the time. And there's been plenty of movies and television shows that do the plot where, like, look, the cops don't care if this guy dies. The doctor is the one who has to decide, look, human life is a human life, the Hippocratic Oath, right? Like, they're supposed to save you no matter what. And acting like because you're white or black or rich or something makes it okay for people to wish ill upon you is weird.
I think some of it wasn't even about them being like white or rich. It was more just like that we have this twisted desire to look at fear porn and look at like catastrophe porn, and we love like when the news catastrophizes things and like the countdown for the oxygen levels on the submersible on the news.
Yeah, that was creepy.
That's creepy. That's weird that we have this like desire for the worst case scenario to be the case. And fortunately the least bad thing happened, which is that they died instantly. But that brings me to...
People got mad at people for saying that too. People were saying like, but they died, so it's awful. It's like, they're saying like, look, the world is not that black and white.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but we had two $20
sorry about that.
We had two.
Because Reason said, evidence came out showing they did not test that sub properly. Darwin Award for everyone involved. Congratulations. We can stop talking about it. Yeah, they were also like unearthing all of these tweets from OceanGate celebrating the diversity of their team. And it was like... oh no, like I've said this before, affirmative action is going to kill people, and now we know it already has. Derp Devil said, don't fall for the act. All of these people clutching their pearls for the billionaires who died only mention their wealth, never their names. It is just hypocrisy and fake indignation. Moment of silence for wet corpses.
I have no problem with the dark humor. I have a problem with the idea that people have now got it into their head that there is an okay group to wish death upon.
Right, yeah.
That is not true. Like, you can laugh at tragedy. You should not laugh at tragedy with qualifiers.
I want to post, or I want to show the post of HRH Collection's reaction to the situation.
Is it collection or collective?
Collection, because it's literally like named after her brand.
Okay, here we go. This is Mary's favorite person. I have a feeling
Look, I'm not endorsing what she says in this video. I just thought it was like
I have
crazy.
a feeling if me and her, if I met this lady in person, we'd actually explode from the hyperactivity that would go on during the conversation. So here we go.
I wanted them to be bobbing at the top of the ocean, dead inside. I know, it's so evil. I know. Or I want them to have gotten in contact with them somehow and been stuck at the bottom. And I wanted to see something horrific, okay? I wanted the ship to be full of like diarrhea and vomit from them being so fucking terrified. I wanted them to like be eating each other. Okay, you're gonna kill me, I know, I swear. And I wanted them to like have been fighting amongst each other, right? Like literally, that's what I wanted. I wanted something to happen. If you're gonna,
our society is so screwed.
The fact that the whole thing in the end is like they imploded halfway down, like, oh my god, like what? So I've been sitting on the edge of my seat for fucking what? That's what I'd like to know. For literally for fucking what? For no fucking reason, for nothing, for something totally anticlimactic. Like really, no. Like where is all the shock and awe in this? I have been full of anxiety, like thinking like, oh my god, what if they're stuck at the bottom, like caught in the wreckage? Like they're literally, what if they went down there and like the stupid gaming control thing like didn't work and then they can't back up or they can't go straight and they're like stuck down there. Can you imagine how pissed you would be if the captain was sitting right there and you're like literally this close to them and like, you know, shit would have gone down, right? Like, you know, they would have been like killing each other or like beating each other up, like pissing and shitting everywhere, like throwing up because like they're so sick to their stomach, they know they're gonna die. Like I wanted something more than nothing. Okay.
We are so screwed as a society.
Like she's not even saying that because they're billionaires.
No, she's just saying it.
She's just saying it because she like, At least she admits that it's evil, that she like wanted that outcome, right?
She's clearly mentally ill. Did you see her nails?
What was wrong with them?
They're just they're just ratchet.
Yeah, I feel like she's saying the quiet part out loud though. Like this is the outcome that everyone watching that countdown on the news wanted.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching it on the edge of your seat with the oxygen countdown, that's you in the video.
Yeah. They did
she's
funny.
just admitting it.
Just
you know?
before, just like a week before this this happened, I watched an episode of a show called Scorpion where a kid gets trapped in a sinkhole, and they have the same thing where the news is reporting on it live as they're trying to save this kid, and they have like an oxygen counter on the screen.
We've got one from Because Reasons. He said, ever see the movie Airplane? A woman went hysterical and everyone on the plane shook her violently and slapped her.
See? It's what we did back
Correct course of action.
It's what we used to do back in the day.
But yeah, I mean, I guess at least the CEO paid the ultimate price for his negligence.
I also want to point out that I don't know if Netflix is actually cashing in or if this was just scheduled to come back.
Of course they are.
They would have had to buy the rights. So they would have had to buy the rights to get this movie back to stream it, right? So to do that, is it really worth doing if
you don't think?
Well, nobody's going to remember this in T-minus 2 weeks. I don't think it's worth
going to
it.
be.
It won't be. It will not be part of the
now.
collective consciousness of society anymore in a week because we're so programmed now for the 24-hour news cycle. In like 2 weeks, we're like, didn't something happen like a while ago that made me think about Titanic?
I bet that as soon as this submersible like news cycle started, Netflix was already on the ball trying to buy the rights because they are trying to capitalize on the tragedy.
They're like, and it's got like the tag. It's like submerge yourself in the greatest love story. ... Again.
I'm shocked that you don't think that's the reason why. Like that's obviously.
I mean, the movies get moved from streaming services all the time. This would have ended up on some streaming service next month, likely.
Also, like, class differences were obviously a huge theme in Titanic.
So they're saying Titanic is on Prime right now. So they're the ones who cashed in. Bezos is the one who's coming out of this one ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, James Cameron also.
I also love that Cameron basically humble bragged about going down there like
I went down there 33 times and nothing happened to me.
Nothing happened to me. Must be.
I'm okay. But MrBeast revealed that he was actually invited to go on the submersible and declined the invitation.
Smart guy.
Yeah, I mean, it takes some really good forethought to know that was a bad idea. But he showed this screenshot of a text that said, I'm going to the Titanic in a submarine later this month. The team would be stoked to have you along. I'm sure you're welcome to join.
Imagine, well, I love the fact that they don't know that there's got to be like a head count and like an acceptable amount of people that you can just bring all your bros with. Like, you got a car with 5 people, right? Like 3 seats in the back and 2 in the front. You don't just say, I'm sure you can come with. You have to you have to know that there's only so many spots available. Also, imagine the hate he would have gotten if he would have died. They're like, oh, guess the grifter deserved to die in the end.
They hate MrBeast for being rich and definitely would have gloated over his grave if he had died on the submersible.
We had $20 super chat there.
Oh, Deuce Boogaloo said, women will post stuff like that and then wonder why the entire planet and every major religion has imposed strict social restrictions on their sovereignty since the dawn of time in every place humans have ever lived.
Phil would have loved reading that.
Love that copy pasta. And it's very true.
It's, you know.
But, like, I'm just saying, she's at least putting it out there, like, and admitting that she had this, like, death drive, that she wanted to see the ugly outcome.
I don't even believe
because a lot of people don't have the honesty with themselves or others to admit that.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole news cycle was about anyway. But people thought that MrBeast was faking this text because it's blue, which means he would have been the one that sent it. But then he clarified that it was sent a screenshot that was sent from the person who invited him, who also didn't end up going, thankfully. But yeah, it was a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a safe way to do this, though.
Yeah, well, obviously, just ask James Cameron.
Didn't plan it properly.
But also, like I love how like the internet sleuths who are like, I don't know if you that's not. Thank you. Maybe we can make a Celine Dion theme.
Well, in a week's time, nobody is going
Maybe we can.
Celine Dion party isn't really going to hit the same.
It can be one where it's like, I forget what her condition
Then
is.
we would literally be capitalizing off of the tragedy.
Yes. I don't remember what those Celine Dion. I don't remember what it is, but whatever Celine Dion's condition is, it's horrible. I just remember it being.
What
really
is it?
bad.
It's like
is it memory loss or something?
no,
Like-
no. It's literally that she won't be able to move any of her muscles at some point.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It's like some rare like Parkinson's like.
Yeah, it was.
Disease.
It was. It wasn't like. Wasn't it have to do with her vocal cords or something like
Well,
that?
if you can't move any of your
Yeah.
muscles, you can't move your neck or your vocal cords. So she won't be able to talk either.
I also saw people were reviewing the controller from the event on Amazon.
Yeah, what was it? It was like a PS2.
Yeah.
That wasn't even the problem. It was just that they didn't test any of it. And also it didn't look like it was very comfortable to be on there anyway. There were no seats, and there's one window that's 20 inches long. That means like only the people in the front are going to get to see anything.
Yeah, dude. It's
But I mean, the people selling the tours were capitalizing off the tragedy of the Titanic in the first place.
Yep.
I don't know. It just seems like a...
Well, I mean, people have been doing that for as long. I mean, people go to monuments all the time for bad things that have happened. People go to, like,
Yeah.
I guess, like, because I was thinking, like, Civil War. Like, people go to the Civil War battlegrounds out here all the time, but that's part of history in a different way,
Yeah.
right? That's not celebrating, but acknowledging, what has been sacrificed in the name of change
Yeah.
for a country. What changed? I guess like if you were if you were a company that built boats and you wanted to celebrate all the change that has been made from from safety regulations after the sub crashed, but in general, not really the same thing.
Yeah, when I was on my trip in France, I went to the Normandy beaches and I like went to the monuments and all of that, the cemetery. And like it really depressed me because some people might hate me for saying this, but like from my worldview, I can tell that like these men died for a country that no longer exists, and they like died for values that this country no longer holds.
She died. Celine Dion. It's called stiff person syndrome.
Yeah, it's some like
A rare neurological condition that causes spasms and muscle rigidity and causes singer Celine Dion to cancel. That's freaking awful,
Yeah.
dude.
So she's
and her
like-
husband just died a couple years ago, and
she's not going to be able to perform.
and you know what? People are gonna be like, "Well, she's rich. Sucks. Good.
Right.
I'm glad that happened to her. She's rich. Who would like?" No, I'm sorry. She's not a billionaire. So you can't be mad at her because she's not a billionaire, because Bernie Sanders decided that it wasn't the millionaires and the billionaires. It was just the billionaires once he himself became a millionaire. Therefore, now it's okay to be a millionaire.
Someone quote tweeted the HRH video and said, "This is white people's version of post-traumatic slave syndrome, psychotic desire and pleasure for violence and torture and suffering." Once again, the race baiting continues.
Ugh. All right.
Yikes.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, that was all a big yikes.
Yikes.
I just needed a chance to talk about it because I was gone for...
Yeah, you really missed
all
out
that
on like
drama.
one of the biggest stories that's happened in a while. Like, it was also one of those ones that seemed like it inspired a lot of people to ask the question, like, why do some stories become more famous than others? Like, what was it about this story that captured people's imagination? And people had to kind of figure out, like, is it because it's the Titanic? Is it because of the unique circumstances? And it allowed people to kind of look at what it is that we as a culture find to be interesting and kind of dissect it in a way because it's such a rare story. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.